Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. In our first story, a dad wanted to exchange what he got for free. Let's jump right in. When I was 17 a couple years ago, I worked for a store that did a cool thing for elementary students. Basically, the store manager announced that he'd be setting something up where he's gonna order backpacks, and any participating employee can sign up to get a backpack and donate school-related materials by putting them in the backpack. Once the backpack is filled, the employee turns it in and it's set to go. As you may have already guessed, and this info is important, yes, that meant the backpacks would each end up having random things in them. Nonetheless, it was all school-related to help aid a kid in their schooling. The way it worked was qualifying, low-income families would sign up, and once approved, they'd be allowed to bring their kid or kids in to get their free backpack. Obviously, it was a limited number of backpacks and a one-day thing. So on this date, people were basically standing in line with their kids to get a backpack. I was one of the employees helping hand out backpacks to the kids. Then it happened. You had a dad that started rummaging through his kid's backpack on the spot, mind you. He noticed that one backpack had an Amazon Fire tablet while the other one didn't. For those of you who don't know, it's a pretty basic tablet. If I remember correctly, they were only like $29 tablets. Of course, he starts to complain. I respond to him with, "Sir, each backpack is random, but hey, the other backpack has some pretty cool things in it too." Yep, he wasn't having it. He even started pointing to the only two backpacks left on the counter and demanded he rummage through those as well and pick whichever one was to his liking. The parents of the two last kids left in line had baffled looks on their faces, as did I. Even his kids looked embarrassed. At this point, obviously, a manager needed to get involved. The manager comes out and states to the father, "Sir, absolutely not. You were given free backpacks loaded with supplies, and your response was to complain about the contents and ask to see the other bags? No. I'm sorry, sir. Have a good day." At this point, the only mature people in that family showed themselves. It was the kids that started yanking their dad's shirt, stating that they loved the backpack and everything's okay. The kids even thanked my manager, and my manager smiled and told them they're welcome and wished them the best on their schooling. What shocked me was that the dad did not seem at all embarrassed by his actions. He kept his disgruntled look and left the store mumbling profanities. You were given at the very least every item needed for your kid's schooling before the start of the school year, meaning he wouldn't have had to spend a dime getting things his kids needed for school, and yet this is how he acted. Not to mention, it was stated publicly in the info about this program that it was employees who donated the stuff using their own money. It's not like it was some government-funded thing. Ugh. I really don't get some people. Story number 2. It's not enough that I climbed in a dumpster to help your worthless family. I currently have a 15-foot, 5-meter roll-off dumpster in my driveway while I'm doing a major clean and renovation. Today, I chucked some of my kids' old bikes in the dumpster and put a couple that weren't in terrible shape down by the curb. A guy comes to my door a little later and asks if he can take the bikes by the dumpster. Sure, that's why they're there. Then things take a turn. I see there are some bikes in the dumpster too. Do you mind if I take those? Sure, they might be kind of tough to get out. The walls are pretty high. You might need to climb in to get them out, but I don't know if you want to do that. It's about 90 degrees and it's pretty nasty in there. He's clearly angling for help to get them out, but I'm not going to offer it. That's not part of the social contract. The choosing beggar makes a half-hearted attempt to pull the bikes out from the side, then starts to take off his shoes to climb in the dumpster. I know for a fact there's broken glass hidden in the swamp water festering at the bottom, so I immediately stop him and throw on some boots to jump in myself. As I'm hauling the bikes over the edge, I hear it coming. So, it's gonna be a lot of work for me to get these out of here. I have to take the bikes off the back of my car and take off the bike rack, then put the guys in the trunk and do the whole bike rack again. Oh, that is a lot. Well, good luck with that. He was crestfallen. He stood at the end of my driveway for a moment, then headed towards his car. The kicker, as I'm walking in my front door, I hear his wife get out and yell, "He ain't even offered to help?" I turn around to start to say something, then his teenage son gets out of the car and glares at me too. His seemingly perfectly capable strapping young son, or at least capable enough to load a few kids' bikes in the back of an SUV, I just laughed and went inside. I anticipate the comments. Although I know many would have let him walk into the dumpster goulash barefoot, I am not a sociopath. I'm not going to let someone with no common sense kill themselves with an infection they got on my property. Story number 3, a phone call with a choosing beggar about mowing their lawn. Some backstory. I'm mowing my neighbor's lawn to make some money. I am a student and have no other source of income, just pocket money and this. My neighbors gave my number to their neighbors because their neighbors asked them who always mows their lawn. I gave my okay to give out my phone number to their neighbors. I thought it might get me 2 lawns to mow and even more money. Here is the subsequent phone call. Hello, is this Jack? Yes, hello, are you the neighbors of Mr. and Mrs. Cooper? Yes, I wanted to ask you if you could mow our lawn too. My husband is turning 80 this year and it would be nice to have someone young do the lawn mowing. Yeah, I can totally do that, no problem. How big is the lawn that I have to mow? It's a little smaller than the one of the Coopers because we have some more bushes and trees in our garden. Okay, cool. For the Cooper's lawn, I mow for about an hour and they give me €20. So if yours is a little smaller but not much, I would say about €15. I can come around Thursday at about 3 p.m. and mow if that's okay for you. Oh, I thought you could do it for free since we're the neighbors of the Coopers and you do it for them too. But as I say, they pay me. But you're a minor and you have lots of free time. If you mow our lawn, we'll keep you away from drugs and parties while you're mowing. Besides, since you're a minor, you don't have much experience in doing these things. You aren't a professional. I'm very confused and not believing what I just heard. Okay, so if you don't pay me, I don't mow your lawn. No problem. Goodbye and see you around. Then I just hung up. Story number 4, an unhinged customer demands her money back for an almost 40-year-old blouse. Okay, so just a little bit of background or context. This happened in 2011-2012 when I was working at Sears. The mall my store was in was pretty old, built in 1970, and my store was the last remaining original anchor store. I'm having a relatively normal shift and an elderly woman comes up to my register. I want to return this blouse. The buttons came off. She hands me this very clearly vintage blouse, obviously older than I was. I ask her if she has a receipt. Of course, she says no. Then I ask her when she bought it. She says 1973. I tell her that no, I can't accept a return for an almost 40-year-old blouse. This woman goes completely flipping ballistic. I mean, full-on, red-faced, consumed with fury, batshit insane, screaming her head off about how I have to accept the return because of our lifetime return policy. I'm not even mad, honestly just amused at the sheer insanity of the situation, and have to force myself to very calmly explain to her that the lifetime return policy she's trying to reference is actually a lifetime exchange and repair policy for hand tools, ratchets, screwdrivers, hammers, etc. I thought this woman was going to stroke out right there in the middle of the woman's department. It took her a few more minutes of calling me many choice words before grabbing her antique shirt and storming off with the classic, "You just lost my business. I'll never shop here again." Threats that crazy customers who don't get their way resort to. This was by far the weirdest encounter I've ever had during my tenure in retail. This is John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, subscribe and click on the notifications bell. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.